We now have two special counsels investigating the current and past president over their handling of classified documents. One of them, Donald J. Trump, took to social media to rail against special counsel Jack Smith. He made sure to add in his favorite line at the end of his tantrum, quote, "The election was, in all caps, rigged." That is the quintessence of Trump, the idea that voter fraud is rampant in America and it cost him the election. And he's still pushing that lie over 2 years after the presidential election that he very clearly lost. You almost have to admire his message discipline, no matter how dishonest his message. Because there are two things you need to know about the 2020 election. One, despite what Republicans would like you to think, there was no widespread, systematic, rampant voter fraud that would have changed the result. And two, the small, random cases of voter fraud that do keep coming up, well, they all seem to have been committed by Republicans. How could we forget the Nevada Republican voter who said he found it sickening to learn someone had cast a ballot in his deceased wife's name? The Trump supporter's story became a rallying cry for the Trump campaign and the GOP. Turns out the Republican voter himself ended up getting charged with 2 counts of voter fraud for casting a ballot in his wife's name. That man pleaded guilty to voting more than once in the same election, or simply put, voter fraud. There's also the Republican Trump-loving stronghold of the Villages in Florida, where a total of 4 people would end up being charged with voter fraud for allegedly voting in Florida and in their other state of residence in the 2020 election. 3 of the 4 of those arrested were registered Republicans. The 4th was not affiliated with any party. Notably, Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis failed to mention those cases in his showy press conference announcing voter fraud arrests. There was also the Pennsylvania man who pleaded guilty to felony unlawful voting for casting an absentee ballot for Donald Trump in his dead mother's name. A Republican Arizona woman also pleaded guilty to casting a ballot in her dead mother's name in the 2020 election. In Ohio, a local Republican official admitted to forging his dead father's signature on an absentee ballot, then voting again himself. We learned this summer that the husband of a Colorado woman who has been missing for over 2 years pleaded guilty to illegally casting his wife's mail-in ballot for, wait for it, for Donald Trump. While shenanigans from the 2020 election are still coming to light, we are also learning of a few more recent ones. We learned this week that a former New York State Republican election official pleaded guilty to illegally using voters' personal information to obtain absentee ballots in 2021, also known as voter fraud. The indictment describes a scheme in which the former official allegedly had voters sign an envelope that was supposed to hold their completed ballots. Then he would, according to the indictment, himself fill out the ballots and submit them. This is a Republican who was tasked with being the election commissioner for a county in upstate New York. You can assume he knows how elections are supposed to work. He is the second Republican official in the same county to plead guilty in connection to a voter fraud scheme. You can't make this stuff up. A local Republican councilwoman pleaded guilty to identity theft after being accused of casting 3 absentee ballots in other people's names in 2021. And just yesterday, the Department of Justice announced that it has charged the wife of an Iowa Republican politician with 23 counts of voter fraud for allegedly submitting or encouraging others to submit dozens of fraudulent voter registrations and absentee ballots in the 2020 Republican primary for Iowa's 4th congressional district, which, wait for it, her husband lost. But it didn't end there. After her husband lost, she is accused of doing the same thing in the 2020 general election when her Republican husband successfully ran for county supervisor. I think it's fair to say that when it comes to the GOP and claims of voter fraud, the call is coming from inside the House.